On this episode, we talk about shiny objects and what is On this episode, we talk about negative mindsets, something else or something, and I don't know, I can't remember. On this episode, we talk about negative mindsets, shiny objects, and quality American phrases for my good buddy Mo to learn. Sometimes pain is a part of the process, and so I'm excited about where we're at right now.
Prices on my head, feel like 100 grand, cause I'm on the dead or alive. You would've thought I was whipping and pushing and selling this dope.
So the struggle is necessary in order for the success.
They trying to ghost your boy, they pulling the gun out the holster. But I'm doing me like I'm posted, yeah. You're smart, out here like the Wild Wild West.
All right, welcome today to episode number 2 of E Squared. This is Jasmine. Jasmine is the awesome product designer, and she's here hanging with us today. And that's Mo over there on the camera. Mo is funny because all of the American innuendos that Mo doesn't understand, we always have to teach him how America gets down with our slang words. Mo is from Cairo, though?
Yes.
Cairo, yes. All right, cool. First question.
What's one question you'd ask someone to help them realize their potential?
It's a good question. Why? That's what I would ask them. I think that's where, why is what I would ask them. That's where everything starts, in my opinion. The figuring out what you want, why you want it, is the key to kind of expressing yourself forward. And it's mostly not why you want it because of what you want to achieve or what you want to get, because that's where everybody usually goes. It's like, oh, I want to get a new car, or I want to make more money, or I want to get this promotion at my job, so on and so forth. But really the focus should be, why are you doing what you're doing that's going to make you happy, that's going to make you satisfied, that's going to feel like you are achieving your purpose. So the question I would ask, this is a simple question, the question I would ask is why. And then, and most of you guys have seen this, like I've asked you the same question when I asked you to go through 51 AMP. That whole training process and watching that video, the focus was every one of my, every one of the employees here at Zyro, I have them go through this training that I call 51 AMP. And the whole process is really figuring out why. What do you want? If you were to live your life 5 years from now, what would that look like? And then, paint out that picture, and then we can see kind of what motivates them, what gets them excited. And that's really the thing that we focus on. Now, sometimes that is, a little bit more materialistic than I think is necessary, because the focus should always be about happiness and achieving purpose. So that's the question I would ask. Who asked that question? Samuel. Why? All right, next question.
Number 2, by Unique Clue.
Unique Clue?
Yeah, Unique Clue. How did you kick yourself out of the negative mindset of not being able to start?
Okay, so I think that this is probably, it's hard to really ask this question, answer this question without knowing you directly. But probably what I would say is I would probably lean more towards going back to what we just talked about. Like, what do you want? Like, why are you negative? Oh, I know what it is here. Fear. That's probably, I would say fear has stolen more dreams than failure ever will. And everybody's trying to fight failure away instead of trying to fight fear away. So if a person feels like I have this negative mindset of starting, it's because you fear. And maybe that fear is you care what other people think. So you're afraid that if I do this, then this person will think about me this way. Or what is my family going to think about me? Or what are my friends going to think about me? Or do I look pretty? This is the reason why everybody is doing these selfies. They take 75 pictures to get one good picture. Like the whole thing is about fear of how other people see me. So I honestly think that if you are fearing taking a step, then what you're really saying is you don't think you should take a step, you have a negative mentality to take a step. I think that that's really about the fact that you are afraid of what other people think about you. And so what I would say is just attack that by attacking fear. And there's a great book that I think you should read. It's a book called Fear the Fear and Do It Anyway. And really what it's all basically doing is basically saying, how can I structure your thought process in a way where you don't allow the fear to kill you, but you allow the fear to motivate you to go take over. And a lot of people think that a person like myself, I don't feel fear. Like I literally feel fear every day. I feel fear today. I woke up today with fear. I worry every single day. We've got like 20 some odd employees here, and I feel the fear of not being able to pay them. Right? Like we're still a small startup, right? So my focus is always like, how do I keep food on the table? Every decision that I make impacts, them and their livelihood, right? And so, I feel that fear every single day. But the difference between those who are courageous is not the ones who don't feel fear. It's the ones who feel fear and act in spite of that fear. And that's really what you have to get in the mindset of doing. So a lot of that is about fighting the fear and realizing that what you're saying is, there's something inside of me that doesn't allow me to believe in myself enough to make me move forward. And usually, this is not always the case, but I would say 90% of the time it's usually fear, and it's mostly about other people's opinions or fearing that you're not gonna do well or that you won't be successful. You just gotta fight that and move forward. Because at the end of the day, guess what? If you do nothing, zero, you still get nowhere. So it's either you start moving and get closer, or you don't move at all and you stay stuck. And I think that that's really what most people get stuck with. So, all right, next question.
D. Glusky asks, at what time did you realize you had to take that next step to elevate yourself to the next level?
When did I realize that? Ooh, this is a good story about this. Marvin's about to break something. There's a good story about this. Was somebody just like jumping in the video?
No.
Oh, there's a good story about this. Actually, it was when I found out I was about to have a child. That was when I decided that there was a whole nother level to this. And that actually told this story in a 51 Amp video of what I went through at that point in time. So this was about almost 7 years ago now, 6.5, 7 years ago. And I was like, all right, you're about to be a father. And before it was, I was 6 years, I'm still, people think I may be older than I am, but I'm still kind of young. So, 7 years ago I was 24, 25 or something like that. I don't even know how old I am. But I was in the 20s, mid-20s. And all right, I'm about to have my first kid. And I'm like, all right, I haven't put pressure on myself to be as successful as I probably could have at that time. I think that to me, I was just like, I have time. I started my first business when I was 18. I was like, I have time. Like I can make it work. I can do my thing. And by 20 something, I was in a rough place that year that I found out I was going to have a kid, because I had lost like 12 people in my family, my grandmother, my second mom, my grandfather, my father. Like literally I lost 12 people back to back almost every single month that year. And I was a bit depressed. And so I was not doing any business. I was just like, I would like do the baseline minimum things, and then I would just go in my bed and put the covers over my head and just like sulk. And at the time I didn't realize I was in a depression, but I was literally depressed. And then when I met my wife, and I found out, she helped me kind of pull myself out. And later that year, we found out we were going to have a kid. And I think that was really kind of what got me saying, all right, I'm not going to bring a seed into this world without being right. And I think that that's what made me turn on the hustle. So, sometimes the whole point of that whole story is sometimes you need external motivation to kick you in the butt. And then other times you need internal motivation. At that time, I needed some external motivation because I was in a tough place mentally. But don't wait till one of my mentors, Jim Rohn, used to say, don't wait till somebody comes to kick you in the butt. Because what happens if they never show up? Because if they don't show up, you stay stuck. And so I don't think that you should wait for that. That happened to me where circumstances pushed me there. But, I think that the focus, even like right now, the more success you have, the easier it is to kind of take your foot off the pedal. Right now our company is growing, pretty well. And it's easy for us to be like, oh, we're growing well, let's stay this way. And I was like, no, how do we double down? How do we grow faster? Because the more success you have, you gotta fight complacency. And I think that that's really the key. So you might be in a place where you're having success. Maybe you got a job and your job is paying you well and you're good to go and you're comfortable and you need to fight that complacency. Or maybe that you suck and everything sucks for you and you're pissed off and everything is horrible and you got to push forward. I think both of them, it's a duality in both things, and you need to be, focused on what side you're on and really push against it. So for me, it was a tough situation in my life that kind of pushed me over the edge. You had somebody in the comment section?
Yeah, I can feel Jonathan's energy, man.
Jonathan's energy, okay, nice.
So he said something I really like. Progress is a process, and today is stuck on instant gratification as opposed to long-term work and achievements.
Nice.
So I thought that was very powerful.
Hey, let's in this video, Marvin, make sure you at Jonathan on here, give him some love, shout out. So follow Jonathan. He's sending some real energy our way. Appreciate you, Jonathan. That's that New York energy. I don't know about that. Y'all don't know about that. The Cairo don't know about that New York energy. All right, cool. Let's go into the next question.
All right, the next three. Next three questions are from.
Oh, my bad.
Next three from Chef Andrew Maynard.
Oh, I know who that is. Okay.
All right, so the first one is, how do you balance working so hard on your business with your social life and your personal life?
So this is similar to what we talked about last week. I just don't believe in balance. You never have balance. Like, there's no reality in balance. Balance is a figment of the imagination. What you need is just harmony. Like, I give you an example. I just had a call with my wife yesterday, and I told her, like, hey, Zyra, we're about to go into a fundraising moment in time over the next couple of months, the next probably 60 days or so. So I'm gonna be running. So that means that I might come home more later over the next 60 days than I normally do. And so you just gotta know how to have harmony. Like, sometimes things are up, sometimes your success is up and sometimes your success is down, and having harmony there is important. So the scenario is you don't try to manage it. You do what's necessary at the time. You do the best that you possibly can, and then you make adjustments for whatever is happening, moving forward. And so that's a hard question to answer, and it's similar to the question that I answered yesterday or on the last episode. So I would say go back to the last episode. I spent more time on it, but don't try to make it perfect. Do what you can with the time that you have. And don't let anybody, this is what I didn't mention on last episode. Don't let anybody else dictate what you should or shouldn't do. Look, if you want to spend more time hanging out and partying and what you call, this is like 4 fish, the dolphin, the shark, the whale, and the urchin. Maybe another show I'll talk about the differences between them. But I'll talk about one of them, the dolphin, and the dolphin loves to have fun. If you a dolphin, you love to have fun, have fun. Like, if you want to go partying every night and hanging out with your friends and you go out to dinner, do that. Do what makes you happy. Don't let anybody else's societal pressures push you in a direction that you feel is not what you want to do. And there's always a give and take to that. But do what makes you happy. If you want to hang out at home and just be with the family, only thing that I would say is just don't complain about whatever you want. If you watch Netflix every single day and you cool with that, then great, do that. But don't be watching Netflix and be like, oh, I'm so sad that I'm broke. Well, stop watching Netflix then, right? It's that simple. All right, next question.
All right, next one is, how do you avoid shiny object syndrome?
Who says I avoid it?
No.
So there's 2 frames of thought that I have in here. So every once in a while, I'll contradict myself. So I'll say something that I'm like, I absolutely believe today, and then tomorrow I get new information, I change my mind. And a lot of people think that that's a bad thing, but I think that is life, right? If you get new information, don't be dumb. Change. If there's a monster in the room one day, or not a monster in the room one day, and then there's a monster in the room the next day, don't say, oh, it's safe because yesterday there was no monster. No, you found out new information, so you don't go in the room or you're gonna get eaten, right? So in this situation, I feel like the best strategy here, like I think shiny objects to me is like ideas. There's always like a new fresh idea of the day, idea of the month, idea of the week. And the question just becomes like, how do you balance the scenario? Me as a person, I consider myself an entrepreneur. Sometimes I do bounce. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that's a good idea. I would love to get that done. You just got to know how to make sure that you don't cross the line, because not everybody thinks in that same framework. Some people are like super focused, super narrow, and they need to be super focused and narrow. So if you come in there and you're like moving things around, like, oh, let's do this and oh, let's do that. Like I would like, Jazz, let me ask you a question. If I, Marvin, where you at? Oh. I gave you a project,
Yeah.
and then I said, great, let's work on this project. And then like 3 days later, I'm like, you're like, this project is gonna take me 2 weeks. And then 3 days later, I say, okay, work on this other project. And you like, well, I'm 3 days into this first project. It's like, all right, don't worry about that. I got excited about something else. And I'm like, all right, let's work on this next project.
Right.
And then like 3 days later, I'm like, oh, forget that other project. Let's do this project.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, we didn't even finish the last 2 projects. It's like, don't worry about it. I got a new idea. It's exciting. Like you would go, well, you tell me how you would feel.
It would be frustrating for sure, because like I see the value for the first project, the second project, and now you're giving me a third one. It's like I want to see something come out through the end.
Yeah.
I want to see the value of what my work is doing.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that's most people. Most people want to see, the results that, like, I get super excited every time I walk past a store that has our product in it and like people are using it. Like that's awesome that you know that you brought something into fruition. But if you always continue to move and change, then you never get that place that to happen. Now there's a duality where you can be so stubborn that you don't make shifts that need to happen in order for you to have innovation, right? Like in order for you to have shifts and change and say, hey, look, you know, a new competitor just jumped into the market. There's a new way to do things. How would you do it? How would you do it? And so the question just becomes, how do you try to make shifts and changes? How do you think in that way? Marvin, you are just like moving all over the place. You're driving me nuts. All right, next question.
all right, this is by J.K. Baines. Do you believe in a higher power? If so, how did it contribute to your success?
Why do people say higher power? Why don't you just say God? Do you believe in God? Oh, maybe higher power is something else. Maybe it is. I don't know. So yes, I do believe in God. I just feel like it's hard to imagine that all of these things just popped up. Like I don't know. That's just my perspective. My goal is not to change your philosophy on how you think about things. If you could think that unicorns popped in and put you on the earth, I don't know. Like, I don't care. Whatever you want to believe is up to you. But I do believe that there's a higher power. I just think that our bodies are so intricate. Like, everything works with itself. So for me, I'm a person of faith. You know, I go to church. I do what a person of faith would do. And for me, I'm a Christian. So as a Christian, my entire life is based off morals. So when people see me act in specific ways, a lot of times they see it a little bit different than what an average business owner would do. And a lot of it is based off my morals, like what I believe in from an integrity place. And a lot of it is because of my fear. Like, everything is being documented. Like even what we're doing, everything is being documented. And so think about like the 1950s. If your grandma was a racist in the 1950s and there was that video about that particular person, like you would, if you're not a racist, you'll feel like embarrassed. Man, that was my grandmother. That's a video is trending on Twitter of my grandmother being like these things. I feel like the content that's being created today, the posts that you make on Facebook, Instagram, or any media platform, my opinion is that stuff is going to live forever. And the longer it lives, the more I think, going to be judged by the content and stuff that you put out. And, my thing is I try to live my life in a way of integrity. And in that way of integrity allows for me to be able to go to sleep at night. Like, I try to do what's best and what's right for everybody. And that integrity, I think, helps streamline the business that I'm in. And the business that I do. And it's not just this business. Any business that I've ever been in, I feel like my morals and the things that I believe in have helped grow my business because of how I treat people, how people respond to me because of the way I think about specific things. So I don't know. I honestly, this is a question that I would say ask people who work with me and ask them how they feel about me as a person, as an individual. And that will kind of tell you how I believe from a moral perspective. If you guys would say, yeah, Eugene, yeah, you're really nice on camera, but when you get off camera, like you're a jerk and like I don't trust you and like I'm afraid every single day or whatever the case may be, I think that would impact the way you feel about working here. And I think that to me, all of that is based off of how my relationship with my spiritual relationship. And so, yeah, that was a deep question, whoever that is.
Yourself.
All right.
All right, now let's go to questions from people.
Okay, from the people. The people.
I know.
There should be like some thunder in the air. The people. Okay, people.
So when working for someone else, how do you balance your business and work life? So this is kind of a
Yeah. So this is actually a little bit different of a question. Because I had to do this. Like if you can work a business and a job at the same time. And I think a lot of people are a little bit afraid of doing that. But actually I started Zyro while I was working at Cisco Meraki. So I was still working full time. I would literally, and we got a co-working space literally a block away. And so I would go to work, get off work, go straight to that co-working space and try to work on Zyro. I did that for almost a year before I went full time. And so it's really about saying, like, do you want both? Because a lot of people say, oh, man, yeah, I want to start a business. But then you have to, if you want to start a business, but you got to pay your bills because nobody's about to, like, quit their job because they need to pay their bills, but you still want to start a business, well, then that means that what you do from 9 to 5 is to pay your bills. And what you do from 5 to 9 is to fuel your business or fuel your passion or fuel what you want to do moving forward. So I think that the focus should be wrapped around how I manage my time from a day-to-day basis in order to be able to do that, because it can be done. And the way I did it was I just made sure that from point A to point Z, I always spent the time necessary to grow my business. I think a lot of it is just like cut out leisure time and do the things that are necessary in order for you to be able to be successful, and don't complain about whatever things that you don't have because you weren't willing to put in the time. Because it's hard. Like one thing I will say is it's difficult. Like it's difficult to work 9 to 5 and then say, crap, I gotta go do something for my business for the next 4 more hours. Like not everybody is built to work 15-hour days. Like, I did it for long periods of time, but not everybody's built that way. So you gotta kind of manage your expectations. Maybe you gotta start small and work 2 hours after work instead of 5 or 6. So, all right, next question.
Which trending brand do you think will vanish in 5 years?
Ooh, Uber.
That was fast.
Yep, Uber. I think Uber has the best chance to fail and the best chance to be dramatically successful. So I could be extremely wrong or I can be extremely right. But they are way over leveraged for my liking. I mean, I understand what they're doing, but they remind me of Amazon. Amazon was in the red for many, many years, probably over a decade. They were in the red, and they were reinvesting back into the business, which is what Uber is doing. But they're doing it at such a high level, it's scary. Like last quarter, they lost $5 billion. Last quarter, 3 months. Imagine losing $5 billion in 3 months. Like that's crazy to me. So yeah, Uber is probably the answer that I would give there. I think that they could be in trouble if the market turns and they can't continue to get funding. Investors start to sour on them. They start not being able to provide value there. I think that could be a huge problem.
Last question. Why do we let words, especially negative ones, have so much power?
Because we care too much. We care too much about what people think. Honestly, that's really it. Like if you didn't care, you would not let anybody's words impact your thought process. Like I just don't care. Like my wife asked me a question yesterday. She said, Eugene, you're putting out so much content. What do you think people think about you? I'm like, I don't care. Like I literally don't. Like, and it's not that I'm trying to be mean. I just really genuinely don't care. Like if I have the only time people care is when you don't have much going on in your life. I got so much going on every single day. Just letting you take an inch of my mind space is like not worth the time. So every day that I'm thinking about you, I'm not doing what I need to do. And so why would that even worry me? Like, at the end of the day, there's a gentleman by the name of Jeff Olson. He said this thing, and I'll kind of end with this. He said this comment about funerals. And he said, the statistics show that people won't go to your funeral. You live your life for 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years, and people don't go to your funeral. And then the ones who do, if it rains, 50% of them will duck out. Imagine that. Like, people won't even go to your funeral. So why you care what they think? Because they obviously don't care about you, not enough to at least pay their respects at your funeral. So to me, I just look at it as, it is what it is. People are gonna, here's the great thing about it. People are gonna talk if you're doing well, and they're gonna talk if you're not doing well. So what I always say is, don't read the press clippings when people are talking positive about you, and don't buy into the negative press clippings as well. Like, you gotta be able to stay even keel. I have a video on YouTube called The Emotional Roller Coaster. You gotta find a way not to be going like this. And a lot of people go like that. When things are going well, they're excited. When things are going not well, they're sad. And like, it's hard to be balanced and have success if you're always kind of being hit by every emotional situation that happens to you. So it's very few times that I let anybody's words put me in any type of state, whether negative or positive.
So Jonathan said something else.
Cool. Come on, Jonathan.
Got me fired up there. Eugene, opinions are not currency. The minute someone's opinion of me can pay my bills, at that point, I'll place value on it. Until then, I keep it moving and do me.
Until then, keep it moving and do you. Like, shout out to Jonathan, man. Shout out to Jonathan. Keep it moving and do you. That's a drop a mic there type of situation. Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, the opinions are never going to move you forward. And so why are you worried about it? All right, that is it. We are a wrap. Thank you for episode 2. See you next week. Oh, no, wait. Stop clapping. Why are you clapping? Oh, yeah, because of the sound. Let's throw a question to you guys. So, question of the day.
Because it's the intro, you should ask, what is a good phrase for Mo to learn?
Ooh. Okay, that's great. You had something?
No.
Okay, so we have a question for the day. So just like we mentioned earlier today, Mo is from Cairo, so he's always learning crazy new American phrases. So I want you to leave in the comment section some great phrases, American phrases that Mo can learn. Cool? That's what I want in the comment section. All right, thank you so much for your time. I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Got worth like cash, not a dime, think she more like a stab. And these bands gon' last, her whole life on max. Yeah, ayy.